Hi guys, day after Super Bowl, Patriots won. Mom called it, of course. She always knows football. And I made a promise back in 2014 in my earlier videos saying I would review a bullpup design weapon. I stated this several times and I'm going to keep the promise. But sadly it's not the Steyr AUG, even though it's cut from the same cloth. So you're probably asking already, what am I talking about? What weapon am I talking about? And please, for the love of God, let it not be that French weapon. No, it's not the FAMAS. It's actually the L85A1. And I actually have an airsoft gun of it. It's actually the HFC heavyweight L85A1. It's a spring action, not an AEG, so sorry to disappoint you guys. Yeah. But the cool thing about HFC is their detail. They actually basically show you the country of origin right there on the buttstock, right below the receiver, the little Union Jack. Now, before I actually get into it, it's exposition time, children! And this one's actually kind of weird. I'm not lying. The way the L85A1 came to fruition was actually a weird story. Why don't we begin in the Vietnam era, the 1960s? When Vietnam was going on, the British wanted to put into production a weapon to replace the 5.56 weapon, but yet not be a 7.62. They wanted to have a rifle that chambered the intermediate round of a 12 point something. Now I can't remember the caliber itself, and I don't got my gun book with me, so I can't exactly look it up right off the bat like that. But what I can tell you is this. NATO didn't want them to make an intermediate chambered round. NATO basically wanted all of Europe and all the other countries to either fire a 5.56, a 7.62, or a 9mm. What a bunch of jerks. But I can understand why. So the big question was, what could they do? So they basically took the design of the infield, basically threw that out the gate. Now, it doesn't mean they didn't put a few in production. They do actually have a few infields in production. You can actually buy one if you look pretty good enough. What they actually replaced it with was the LA1, which was basically an FNFAL ripoff, but it fired a 7.62 and was semi-automatic. No full auto, because the British are riflemen. Yeah, sure. But when the 70s rolled around, and I mean 1976, the Australians, who were originally British prisoners on a British prison colony, designed a weapon that was a little bit different, but fired a 5.56. What was that weapon? Well, it was the Steyr AUG that I promised you guys that I would review, but I'd do that in another video. It was a futuristic weapon that was never seen before. It was actually a bullpup design weapon that was accurate and even better than the British weapons. So the British, in the 80s, thought, hey, why don't we learn from our little prisoners what they designed? So they went into production with an L85A1. It did not do so well, because when it was first produced, it had a lot of problems. I'm not lying. This gun went through 800 different designs. This is including updates. This is including re-engineering. So many British soldiers have complained about this weapon that it is not funny. Soldiers have died in Afghanistan from this gun's malfunctions. That's bad. I mean, that's worse than the M16 in Vietnam malfunctioning. And you're already asking me, what are the malfunctions? Okay, let me pull back up the airsoft gun. Let me go ahead and tell you what the malfunctions were. First, it was with the grip. The grip would fall apart right there. Then it continued to the barrel. The barrel would loosen and fall out. Then it got to the magazine. The magazine would actually fall out. Then it came to the buttstock. The buttstock would actually break. Everything about this gun was basically wrong from the start. Now, the only thing there is one little tidbit I forgot to mention. This was actually a retro design of the LA1, which was the infield. You know, that FNFAL ripoff? They actually kept the trigger guard and the pistol grip from that weapon. But now the kicker is, and this is what makes me laugh. This is what makes me laugh so hard, is that when a British soldier, especially their special forces, were asked, what they wanted to take. When they were given the option to take either the L85A1 or another gun, they said, give us an American M4, give us an American M16, anything but this god-awful weapon. And I'm quoting an SAS commander on that one. So, yeah, what was with that? So, to this day, this L85 abomination, oh my bad, A1, is still in production. Yeah, you think the British would have learned by now that they made a mistake and they should redesign the weapon. Or get rid of it altogether. Oh well. So, with that little bit of exposition spewing done, let's get on to the gun itself. And wonder if this gun is as bad as its real-life counterpart. Well, I can gladly say no. HFC, a company that has prided themselves on full reproductions and full-on, spot-on, high-quality work, has actually done very well for themselves with this nice little gun. They've actually put a metal barrel and integrated a paint job to the orange tip, so you don't got a plastic orange tip that'll break on you if you ram it into the ground or the dirt. And with this bullpup design, you have a more accurate platform. And the reason I say that is because a bullpup design weapon puts all the actions, the receivers, the magazine loading, everything like that, in the rear. And you have less recoil, if you had a live action firearm. And to actually put it, I'm surprised this gun is not getting a lot more than it should be. Now the safety is ambidextrous. Ambidextrous meaning that, you have for both people, left and right-handed. You can actually use it. If you're left-handed, you can actually move your thumb back on the guard, actually do it like that, and you can push it back, which is a simple slide for the actual safety. And the scope itself is actually built in. You have a simple blade right there in the center, which is pretty accurate. Now, it is adjustable for those who want to actually do some long-range killing. So, you know what? You will get your confirmed kills at very long range, if you upgrade it. This gun is upgradable, and I have done research into it, and you actually can drop a powerful spring in the butt. You can actually put a metal cocking lever in there, and you can actually do a lot. Now, there is no adjustable hop-up, which is very rare for certain bullpup design weapons when it's a spring action. And the rest of the body itself is made of a high polymer HFC, VFC body, and a mixture of metal. A pistol guard being metal, and the grip being VFC. Now, I kind of saved this one for last. The magazine, even though it's an AR style magazine, is a special AR magazine. Meaning it's this. It has a little tube up there that loads it into the actual gun. And it's a pain in the butt to load because you got to pull out this ramrod, you got to ram it down in there, make sure this catches at the bottom, and then load in your pellets, which it holds 30 pellets, just like a actual 5.56 caliber magazine would. And once it's loaded, you can actually push this up, back, and it pulls, and it basically enforces them to stay in the magazine. Now, I kind of didn't want to bring this up because I know this is a good gun, airsoft-wise, and it's pretty accurate. It has a pretty good FPS of about 330. And no, that's not the time. It's actually 330 FPS. And it's pretty accurate, but the only downside is the magazine. And the cool part of it actually having this little bit here where you can flip it down and you can actually pull back on the magazine, on the actual slide and everything. Oh, I forgot to mention the slide's made out of metal also, which is kind of cool. Pull back on it, and again, doesn't have an adjustable hop-up, but no problem. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and blank fire it so you can hear it. You hear that? That's 330 FPS, not pushing a thing through it. Now, I was using 0.20 gram biodegradable pellets with this gun, so it may be faster with lighter grams. But if I had to definitely say this, I have to say that I like the gun. Its real-life counterpart, I don't like it because I've seen many of them in Afghanistan just duct taped together because that's how bad they are, so I'm not going to... So sadly, I am going to incorporate its history into the score. So you're wondering what the score's at. From what I've told of the actual real-life gun, you're thinking the score's pretty low, right? No. It's the build quality of this weapon that has saved it from a low score. And you know what? I'm going to give it a good score. I'm giving this thing a 8 out of 10. A must-buy. Because if you're playing as a... Okay, the magazine does kind of lower it from a 9 out of 10, but you know what? As I was saying before, if you're going as a British soldier, or you're going as a SAS soldier, or even a guerrilla in a British colony type thing, this gun is definitely one to get if you just have a spring action. And this is great for backyard skirmishes. This is a good little DMR. Well, a bolt action DMR. It's pretty good. So, yeah. It's an 8 out of 10 for my first bullpup review. And you're probably wondering when I'm going to do more bullpups. Well, I'm working down the pipeline of possibly doing an F2000, a Star AUG, and even a FAMAS, that French weapon from the French. As my mother would say, damn the French, but you know what? I'm going to respect them for their guns. And only their guns. Thank you for watching. This has been Roach Clan 5, and remember, don't trust the British. Don't trust their firearms. Unless it's the older ones. Yeah. Good day, everybody.